let there be some light in here. Hey pups. Good doggies. Speaking of lights, that's what I'm working on next. I'm installing an entire light kit from American Green Lights. This kit was designed for my space, and this is the third shop that I've installed their lights in. High quality CRI or high CRI lights. CRI stands for Color Rendering Index. So these lights make things look very true to the color, not muddied down by like some green hue fluorescence. Anyway, I'm going to pause what I'm doing right now, jump into the computer, and I'll show you the simulation provided by American Green Lights for this particular space. I want to share with you this lighting simulation that was prepared by Jim Uno from American Green Lights. This is fascinating to me. If you're somebody like me who likes the details, then this may interest you, because if you don't really calculate how much light you need, which I don't know of anybody who really does that, modern day people, just putting lights up in their shop, then what you do is you most often run into one of two scenarios. Either A, you just make it insanely bright and you may have overbought the amount of lights that you actually need, or B, it's not bright enough and then you get a little frustrated. Well, do I need more light? Did I get the correct lights? Are the lights in the correct placement? All that stuff. So this will help you for those who are interested in getting something calculated. This will help you get to the greatest destination in the fastest or straightest path, I guess you could say. So shop and homestead lighting simulation prepared for yours truly. This was back in November. I've been trying to get these lights installed forever. I got the simulation done in November. The lights arrived in January, and it wasn't until mid-March I actually got them installed. Life, right? Simulation parameters. I gave him a little specifications for the structure itself, and he used that to create this entire document. It is this entire simulation. This stuff is fascinating to me. So here's also on the bottom here, the light level targets. This part is the part that the majority of us don't really measure or understand. I don't anyway. The target is 60 to 100 foot candles of light intensity. The recommended light level for a wood shop. Target of 40 to 60 foot candles in the kitchen in our apartment area. And target 15 to 20 foot candles in the lean-to. I sent him just this screenshot. This is my SketchUp model for the whole shape of the shop. And the tool layout, it isn't 100% set like this. So we still have some leeway to move stuff around. And my goal, I told Jim, I just wanted mainly like an overall even lighting setup. I don't necessarily want, I don't want to focus on individual workstations per se, but just a nice even overall lighting setup. So I provided this and he ran with it. Next up, we have basically the placement of all the lights. You can see the lean-to has 2 rows of 7. Those are the smaller 24-watt retrofit strips. And everything else inside the shop, those are actual the shop light kits. Now the apartment has 6 lights in the main area, 1 light in the bathroom. Just to the left of the apartment is a walkway, so it has its own dedicated little light right there. And then we have several lights throughout the main working area. The simulation continues with a bare bones model that Jim created. I didn't create this. He just popped this together, which is pretty cool to see. And here we have the overall light intensity layout. You can see out in the lean-to, there's not a lot of light intensity. That's right in the good range for nighttime movement outside, right? You don't want crazy bright lights outside. I don't want that anyway, because then your eyes adjust to that, and then you turn around looking out in the darkness and you can't see anything. So having a 20 to, I think it's in the 20 range of foot candles out there, that looks appropriate. And then everything inside in the middle, you'll see that it's all very well properly lit. One thing that is really cool about our shop itself as well is it does have 14-foot walls, and there's 2 wall girts there's one wall girt that is at the top of all of the man doors and all of the windows. Everything below that will probably get covered in wood walls, but everything above that is going to remain white. So all of the light that we have from the lights is also going to reflect off of that white high wall and bounce back and keep this even flow and a lot of fill light around everything. So seeing a simulation like this where you can see where the light is actually going, that's pretty darn cool. One thing to note as well is, as we'll see in an upcoming slide, is the trusses that he has are horizontal at 14 feet, whereas our shop, our trusses are not horizontal. There's no bottom of the truss. It's just welded I-beams. So the bottom of the truss is essentially the bottom of the I-beams follows the roof pitch. Here you can see a little bit of a different angle looking into the shop and the lean-to, and you can see the trusses, or the light, I guess you could say, the light elevation. All of these are on the same plane. I'm not going to mount mine all on the same plane. Like I said, they're going to be mounted to the bottom of the trusses that are on the same angle as the roof pitch. I talked with Jim about that, and he said you're not really going to notice a difference at all. Go ahead and mount them up there like that. So there is a little bit of a difference in the simulation, but that's no big deal whatsoever. And here you see the light intensity in a different view. Also, because the center row of lights in the shop, you see that the light intensity is the most right around there. Where it is most intense, that's where the lights are actually going to be much higher, so I think it's going to fill out quite well. Another view from the lean-to, and once again, we don't want it insanely bright out on the lean-to. We want it good. We want good quality light that we can see all the way around. We're not going to trip over something in the dark. That's what we're after. Another view looking through the lean-to into the shop, seeing the apartment on the left-hand side. Notice above the apartment, we don't have any lights. We're going to rely on just residual fill light coming back through the rest of the lights to light up the top of the apartment, which is probably just going to be used as storage anyway. You don't need an insane amount of light up there. All of this looks great. Another view from the back side of the shop, opposite of the big roll-up door. And here you can see into the little apartment that we're going to build. We got a couple appliances in there, which is pretty cool to see. The bathroom is off to the far left. It is all well lit, but not insanely bright. This is pretty cool. Like I didn't provide any of this 3D model to Jim. He just created it as a service that he provides. I really like this. And this view with the light intensity, again, pretty cool. Another view from the fourth side, and that also comes with a light intensity view on the next slide. All of this, I'm like geeking out over this. I really like seeing all the little details, right? This is a measurable amount of light, which is something that me on my own, I would have never done this. One final view looking on angle through the front wall of the shop, or the door, the wall that's got the roll-up door on it, followed by the light intensity. And on the next slide, we get to see how much all of this cost. So here is the cost breakdown for all of the lights that we're going to be using. I will say that I have been provided a discount on this, so I didn't pay full price. And also I am passing on a discount to all of you. If you're interested in this lighting simulation service and getting some of these lights, I have a discount code. You can use that code through American Green Lights and save yourself some money. One thing that I really like, and I found this very handy because I'm recording this honestly after I put the lights up, is this particular chart here. It shows the wattage, the total wattage for all of the lights in that group, and then the amps that they're pulling. The amperage is what I was really looking for, because I have a 60-foot long shop with 14-foot walls, 20-foot peak. When you start adding up the length here, the furthest run of the light is going to be well over, right around 100 feet or so, which that pulling, 19.2 amps for all of the big 144 watt lights, that's going to require a different size wire than what you would typically use for lighting, like a 14 gauge wire or something. I had to go with 12 gauge wire just to be on the safe side. I'm sorry, I think I went with 10 gauge wire just to be on the safe side, to make sure I can pull all these amps through that distance, because take distance into consideration. The further you go, the more voltage drop that you have, and therefore you need to step up the size of the wire. So this is a very, very beneficial part of the lighting simulation. I think so anyway. Some details on each one of the lights that we're going to be using. This is just one of the smaller 24 watt LED light kits. So this is not a retrofit strip. This is the kit. The driver is enclosed inside the housing above, in this orientation, above the light hood. This one has two strips, so it's a 48 watt light. The next one has 3 strips, so it's a 72 watt light. And of course, the big ones, the 144 watt. This is a lot of light. This is a lot of LED light. And the retrofit strips, they may look a little bit different depending on which ones are recommended for you. Mine look slightly different than this, but the concept is the same. You have two different, maybe a couple different kinds of drivers, but the driver that I installed, again, I'm recording this in the future, is on the left-hand side, the bottom left, that bigger gray driver. So you run 120 volt electricity to the driver, and then a much smaller wire from the driver to each one of the lights. Here's a few different varieties of the retrofit strips. The one I'm using outside under the lean-to is the middle one, and it has a diffuser over the LEDs, which I think is fantastic because at nighttime, you're outside, it's dark, your eyes are adjusted to the dark, so you're going to be more susceptible to bright lights. And having a diffuser, if you glance up, you're not going to be staring into one of these super bright LEDs. So having the diffuser is, in my opinion, a fantastic use outside for nighttime lighting. CRI, Color Rendering Index. This is what is really impressive about these lights. This is the impressive part, in my opinion anyway. My last 2 shops, like I said, once I installed these 2 shops ago, I was blown away at the quality of light, which I would never have thought, quality of light. You just need more light or less light. No, the quality of the light makes a difference. The Performalux LEDs, you can see that they have visible light throughout the entire spectrum, whereas T8 bulbs, have you ever noticed T8 bulbs typically go green over time? Well, they don't have a high CRI, so they're always emitting more green, typically, with the bulbs, and as they age, it gets worse and worse and worse. In my experience, that's what I found. Having a high CRI is just fantastic. It makes things, I can't emphasize this enough, it makes things just look as they should. It makes them look vibrant. Have you ever had a really dirty windshield and you just let it go on for too long in your car and you're like, I'll get to it. And then one day you're like, I've had enough, and you make that windshield as clean and streak-free as possible, and the next time you drive at night, you're like, wow, I can see the world, That's kind of like that same wow factor of putting these lights in and turning them on for the first time. It's just, everything just looks so crisp. The next few slides are basically a visual representation of high CRI lighting. You can see the difference, the way things look, when you lock down the camera exposure and you lock down the white balance and you turn these different lights on based upon the white balance, and you can really see the difference in lighting as it comes through in photography. Now, some of these images, I actually created these years ago, many years ago, the first time that I worked with Jim, and it just, the proof is in the pudding. Things just look so much better with high CRI lighting. Here we have a lighting temperature guide to show you what different lighting temperature actually looks like. And 5000K, it closely matches noonday sunlight on a clear day, and it's optimal for workshops, laboratories, and other high task areas. I really like 5000K to work under. I have used 6500K lights, and yeah, it's a little bit on the cool side for me. 5000K just makes everything, in my opinion, look in the middle ground, right? Just like this guide shows. It's in the middle. It's not too warm. It's not too cool. The 2 main kits that we're going with are shop lights and retrofit strips. I'll show you retrofit strips in just a second, but this is one of the shop lights that they have. Specifically, this is a 4-foot, 144 watt, 5000K light fixture. So on the fixture itself, we have 3 drivers in here, and that's dependent upon how much wattage you go with. And the hood right here has 6 LED strips. So 24 watt, 48 watt, 72 watt, 3 and 3 is 6. So 72 and 72, 144 watts. All these LED strips terminate over here on one side of the hood, where if I flip this over, you can see the wires that I need to plug in as I install the light, and 2 mounting holes right here. These 2 mounting holes, they line up with these 2 holes on the fixture, so that's how you install it. You install the fixture itself first, and then the hood goes on top with these 2 lights while you attach those wires from the back side right here. So these wires go into the drivers. These drivers come out into this 120 volt AC whip, so I can install just regular electricity hookup for this. And these are dimmable with these 2 wires right here. You can attach a dimmer switch. I'm not going to do that, but you can. So 144 watts. This same setup just shrinks in size as the wattage goes down. 6 strips down to 4 strips, down to 2 strips, and so on, 3 strips. So how am I going to install this up there? Well, I'm not entirely sure, and I've got 2 different methods. I'm probably not going to decide until I actually get up there. But this is a piece of the material that's up in the ceiling. This is part of the material that was used to build this structure, and I got a bunch of these hooks that have an open side on one side and then a bent side over here, and this bent side clips down perfectly onto this purlin piece. Now this gives me a hook perpendicular to the length of the purlin, and I want it parallel, so I'm going to take another one of these and slide it over the hook like so, and this gives me a hook that is parallel to the purlin. Once this is all hooked up and ready to go, I can crimp these down so this open end doesn't stay super open. They bend really easy, so I can crimp it down to where it's really not going to go anywhere. So this right here can be hooked like so. Now what is this right here? Geez, just throw stuff, Jay. So what is all this right here? This is just a piece of 14 gauge wire with the tabs on the fixture bent up. So these tabs, you can do a lot of mounting options with these tabs. Just to see what would happen, I bent these up and put a piece of 14 gauge wire on either side. And this is, I guess you could say this is one mounting method, and one that I initially thought of using, but I think that it's just going to be too labor intensive. I'm not entirely sure if it's all necessary. So what I was doing is a piece of 14 gauge Romex, whatever width this is. Sure, that gives me 3 wires, a black wire, a white wire, and of course a bare copper wire. It doesn't really matter at all which wires I choose, because all this will be hidden, and this is plenty strong enough to hang it by. I may or may not go this route because, well, it's kind of fiddly, to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff going on. The alternative is to simply use the same screws that were used to assemble the building I'm in, and screw right through the light fixture, through this hole right here, into the purlin. That would be way easier, to be honest with you. The downside of that is that these purlins, the bottom of these purlins, are not perpendicular, they're not parallel with the floor. They're off on just a slight angle. Whatever angle these I-beams are that you see, that's the angle. Then we have the ebb and flow of life, the cycles of life, the roller coaster that is life. We had so many obstacles in our way to get to actually being able to put the lights up, and all those obstacles are cleared. We're ready to install the lights, and today my dad is driving down from Michigan. So I grew up in Michigan. My dad's lived there his entire life, but I currently live in Mississippi. So I don't get to see my dad often, unfortunately, and we have been routinely getting together at least once a year. I haven't seen him in a year and a half. We moved to this property, or bought this property, and had this big major life move, living in a camper, can't really have a place to host anybody. Life gets busy, and here we are, almost 2 years, and I haven't seen my dad, which sucks. But we're super excited he's coming down, and I'd love to ask him to help me to put these lights up. I probably will. But if we just want to chill out and do nothing for the week that he's here, then that's what we're gonna do. So after all this, we may actually not get the lights put up in the next couple of days, and maybe another week. But at this point, it's worth it. My dad's awesome. He's a fantastic grandpa to Tyler Kate. I absolutely love watching them interact, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I may pick up later today after he arrives. I may not. But regardless, we're going to get these lights done. We are going to see the light. best way I can show you how bright these lights are, how awesome these are, is to lock the exposure for the big lights. So the camera is not going to auto adjust at all. It's daytime, the big door is shut. This is how much light we have just coming through the windows. Now you may recall a few months ago I put some temporary lighting, just 2 cheap off-the-shelf LED light strips on top of the camper, just for a little bit of bounce back light. So it's bouncing up towards the ceiling and reflecting back down, and that temporary lighting looks like this. This is the temporary lighting. It doesn't provide a tremendous amount, but it allows us to actually see in here. And I remember when we put these up, I was like, oh wow, that is awesome. Well, let me go turn the sun on. Well, I mean, the actual lights on. And this is the lights just on the working side of the shop. I still have to put one more full row over on the storage side once the camper gets out of the way. Of course, I've got one more light up here by the entrance. That's going to be installed probably the same time that the apartment is built. So phase 1 of the lights complete. Phase 2, which is outside on the lean-to, is actually complete, but I haven't quite edited that one just yet. And then phase 3 will probably be the apartment and whatnot. And then phase 4, the least priority, is the extra strip of lights or extra row of lights, these ones, on the storage side of the shop. We can finally see in here. We can finally see under the lean-to, as I'll show you in an upcoming video. It is really awesome. Big milestones for us, and life is good. If you go to AmericanGreenLights.com, you can check out all these lights. Contact Jim Uno. He offers that simulation service. And also, if you're interested in getting any lights from American Green Lights, use my coupon code. I have it on the screen. It is just for you. It's not an affiliate link. I don't get any kickback whatsoever. Use it, enjoy the discount, and enjoy your lights.